When it comes to the oldest amusement park in the world, it's quite old, isn't it? Bakken in Denmark opened in 1583, almost 100 years before Sir Isaac Newton invented gravity. Although it doesn't necessarily have a grand Middle Ages vibe today, apart from that one ride of course. Today it's probably the most Danish amusement park in the country. It's absolutely stuffed with Danish culture, from the classic atmosphere and Danish cuisine to satire and lots of places to get absolutely shit-faced.
I'm gonna ride my
But of course, a big part of the atmosphere and what makes it a theme park in the first place is the ride collection. The rides at Bakken are very fun fair style, and they remind a lot of what you would find at a traveling fair. But there are also the permanent ones that you would never see in a traveling fair. But something that is like a traveling fair still is the very lax operators, the pop music, the whole lot. Over the years, many rides have come and gone. The park still has a strong collection, and especially one of the best flat ride collections in the kingdom. As such, it's about time I count down my top 15 rides at the world's oldest amusement park. Heads up though, because my stomach can't handle the witchery that several of those flat rides inflict.
What sorcery is this?
So I'll give an honorable mention to rides such as Supernova, Grashoppen, Polypen, and Kaffekopperne, because none of these will appear in the list.
I'm out this bit!
Just due to the nausea they'd give me. Also, Vikingskibet Dragen, but that's just because that ride sucks.
Shit.
And number 15, the Lille Tog. The little tour train car thingies you can go on around the park. As mentioned, Bakken's strength is the classic atmosphere. Just walking through this place is great. But why do that when you can sit down? Okay, in fairness, I used to shit on this because you can just walk through the fucking park in 5 minutes. But then I wrote it again and honestly loved the chill while feeling the entirety of the park's vibe. Also, it used to get pulled by a cute little train, but now it's pulled by a tractor. That's an upgrade if I've ever seen one. Number 14, Hip Hop, an SBF drop and twist. I know it's a kiddie drop tower, but these things are seriously underrated. While you don't get the legit airtime of the big boy towers, the small ones have a much more prominent stomach dropping sensation, or as I like to call it, stomach tickling. And while this one cycle is pretty short, it's a fun experience if you're with a friend especially. If you're alone on one of these, it gets kinda weird. Number 13, Safari, a mock interactive dark ride. It's a shooting competition style of ride because you are shooting wasps in the African jungle. There are so many wasps here, very clearly marked targets if they work, and that's also one of the things. This is one of those shooting dark rides where some of the targets work and some don't. The same goes for the guns. It's all part of the charm though, and it's a real fun and fast-paced shooter, especially because it's very compact and it just has a lot of great theming. There are all these sorts of predators, giant bugs, monkey boys. I always enjoy this classic dark ride, and I hope it stays for a long time. Number 12, Rodeobanen, a racetrack style of ride. Sometimes less is more. One of my favorite quotes.
Minimum effort, maximum satisfaction.
And it's perfectly suitable for Rodeobanen. A race circuit with bumper cars, not meant for bumping. It's all about racing and trying to see if you can overtake your friends. Some cars are also faster than others, and the ground is 50% metal, 50% other stuff, which means there's a challenge in catching the acceleration itself. Sometimes you accelerate, sometimes you just don't. And obviously that means that some people aren't the fastest, and with so many cars, it can turn into car crash simulator. It's overall a very fun, simple concept that I really enjoy. Number 11, Rutschebanen, a Valdemar Lebec scenic railway. To some, this is a criminally low spot. I mean, it's a 91-year-old classic wooden coaster. The problem is Bakken has done a lot in its power to surgically remove this ride's charm.
She's dead.
The speed, the forces, the shaping, and even the brakeman, all of those have been neutered and removed. But worst of all, worse than anything ever done to any coaster before, they took away its crooked lift hill. Today, it only delivers up to 3 airtime moments in the layout, even depending on where you sit. It's hard to enjoy with those lap bars as well, because they just suck and they come down so much. They're some of, if not the worst restraints of any coaster I've ridden, and it takes the normal roughness of an old Woody and dials it up to warrant a 911 call. That being said, it's still a fun ride to an extent. I like the airtime there is and the speed of the valleys. It's got a great sense of grandeur and still some old-fashioned charm, a lot of charm in some places. I wouldn't say it's a good ride, but I don't know, I still always have a bit of an urge to ride it, and it still makes me smile. Number 10, Hjorthøj, the Funhouse. This is a perfect example of a classic funhouse. It's themed to a sailor ship, also speaking a bit to the Danish sailor culture. You've got the classic crooked rooms that can be difficult to walk through, 2 pianos with maybe 10% of the keys working. There are entire rooms that move, stone friend, and even a slide and a firefighter pole thingy. It's got all the essentials and doesn't go below standards. So it's just always fun, especially with friends. And it even ends off with blowing air up your ass. Number 9, Skyroller, the Gerslauer Skyroller. This is one of the park's newer thrill rides, fit for the entire family due to the nature of the ride. It's quite simple really. You go up, do a spinny, and then a flippity flap to do more spinny. Now I'll admit I'm actually quite shit at getting a full rotation going, unless it's windy. But I also don't like when I finally do get a streak going. Quite frankly, my head starts to hurt if I really get a lot of inversions going. For me, it's the challenge of the ride that makes it really fun. But if you're a tryhard like my friend Floor here, who recorded my POV for me, you can get dozens upon dozens of spins. You'll officially lose your sense of direction and balance, and also make the Smiler look like a loser in comparison. For me, again, I just think it's fun to always go up and try and see how well I can do. Number 8, Kangaroo, a Zamperla Kanga Bounce. We're back at it again with another kiddie ride. This is the closest I've ever been to Australia. After all, interacting with a boxing kangaroo is part of the Australian citizenship test. Just like the teeny weeny drop tower, the kangaroo ride offers a lot of stomach dropping, but something that it also offers is actual airtime. The restraints are really loose as well, so you truly do get airborne. And there's that one great airtime pop every one rotation that is way stronger than all the others. Especially if you sit on the outer seat, you will get proper airtime out there. And not only is this an actual airtime machine, there is so much more of it. Just a really fun ride to go on. Number 7, Spøgelsestog, the ghost train. This is an old bugger, and exactly like some of them there traveling ghost trains you'll find in big fun fairs. It's got the very classic, simple scare, which are just things lighting up, making noise, and coming at you. But it's so effective. It's super dark, you never know what you'll come across. It's enough to legitimately scare the piss out of me each and every time I ride it. But it's not the only reason why, because there's a secret ingredient on this one.
The secret ingredient is...
a scare actor. Sometimes he's there, sometimes he's not. But when he is, in the complete dark where you can't see squat, there will be a guy in there ready to scare the bejesus out of you. The real horror is just that you don't know when he's there and when he's not. And when he is, you don't know where he is either.
He's in the wall.
He's in the goddamn wall!
Fuck that guy. And thank you for being there, making this ride so much more terrifying and in the end, fun. Number 6, Jubalaires, the Zamperla bumper cars.
This is going to be dangerous.
As I said earlier, sometimes less is more, and ain't it just a hoot to play real-life car crash simulator and try to make as many kids cry as possible. Okay, that last part was a joke, but seriously, when you're with a friend, riding fast and hard-hitting bumper cars is one of the most fun things you could do at a theme park. These are some of the faster bumper cars I've ridden as well, which only makes the crashes more chaotic. Especially since there's a buttload of cars on this particular track. These are definitely up there with some of the most cutthroat bumper cars I've done.
But I'm fucking a lot bit dangerous.
I'm in danger!
Also, fun tip if you want to play Jackass, just drive directly into the wall. I don't know why, but it's pretty fun to try out. Here, I want to give an honorable mention for a ride that used to rank right here, racing the old Zira Flitzer. Man, this ride filled me with nostalgia and good memories when it operated. Apparently, this was Zira's first permanent coaster.
Your generation likes to forget that.
Opening in 1972 and closing in 2020. It has such a great feel and sense of speed while vibrating like an electric toothbrush, but luckily it's not all gone, and I hope to ride it again someday in Böhmischer Prater in Vienna, Austria. Number 5, Die Wilde Maus, the Mack Wilde Maus coaster. Here's a hot take. Standard Wild Mouse coasters are some of the most overhated coasters out there.
Relax.
This ride has got great laterals in the switchback turns, the small drops are really fun, generally the ride actually feels proper fast, and there's the golden combination of that one fast-paced turn right into the big drop, which is seriously a great moment.
That shit good!
That turn is so good.
This one in particular also runs with very few trims, it's comfortable, it's got good restraints, and generally looks great too. For standard Wild Mice coasters, this is up there among the better for sure, and it's still just a ride type that, if not run horribly, is a really fun ride. Number 4, Venrutschebahn, the Reverschon Flume. I used to think it was one of the worst log flumes I'd done. Now I think it's one of the most fun, partially because of how dumb it is. It's oddly raised above the ground, and it looks ridiculous. It's also very bulky in its movements and feels very budget.
$1.83 American. What are we gonna get with that?
But that just adds to the fun of it. It even turns into a coaster credit on this long straight section because it gains speed by rolling on the floor. The general sketchy feel of the ride is absolutely great, and that's just what you get when the French built your log flume.
Horrible.
You also constantly go past the drops and sometimes get hit by the water from other people going down the drops. There's just a surprising charm to this hunk of junk. The drops themselves are also really fun. The small one gets you pretty wet, but this big one absolutely does as well. You're not safe on this one.
It's not safe.
You're guaranteed chaos and getting wet on this log flume. Number 3, Tornado, an Intamin spinning coaster. The infamous ride making Bakken famous for thuzies. This ride is both good and bad, and I'm sure some people are disappointed that it isn't my number 1 at the park. But one thing I certainly can't take away from it is that it is one hell of a ride. It's arguably one of the most intense spinning coasters in the world.
Right this way. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Starting off with a hydraulic dual-chained launch, going straight into an insanely tight drop, giving you incredible airtime laterals, and then smashing you into your seat with up to 5 Gs at the bottom, which is followed by some more fast-paced elements with whip positive forces and you going, what the fuck just happened?
That was totally wicked!
And then if you can get the rare boost mode, that chain lift hill is sped up and you spin even faster. I'm convinced that in boost mode, it is the most forceful coaster on earth. That bitch feels like it hits 7 Gs in boost mode. The rest of the layout also has some great intense moments like this twisted bunny hole and the final turn as well. So on paper, this is a world-class spinning coaster. Unfortunately, it's also very uncomfortable. You can bang your neck a lot. It is not necessarily the smoothest, and I don't like the spinning that much either myself, since I get nauseous and stuff, so if it spins too much, I am not gonna be happy. So sometimes this is the most badass and fun coaster experience for me, but other times I feel like Dorothy in the tornado blowing the hell out of Kansas. No bueno. It's still always an exciting ride to go on, albeit a gamble, and most of the time I seriously enjoy the thrill. Number 2, Tårngyset, an SNS double shot. It's no secret that I love drop towers, and even though this is an SNS drop tower, it is pretty good. For the launching ones especially, size does matter, because the smaller, the better. The short height of this tower means it hits the top with blistering force, quickly yanking you back down. That means you get 2 great moments of ejector airtime, followed by 2 stomach tickling floater airtime moments. It's a very simple ride, but so fun. The sides you sit on also makes a difference. You got the side with a great view, the one where you stare people down, the one where you can grab a leaf from a tree doing the cycle, and the one with the poo-poo view of a playground. Unfortunately, this ride might leave soon.
What?
Because it has been put up for sale on Bakken's website, so I'm not sure if I'll actually ever get to ride it again. But I hope it stays for at least one more season, because it's a fun experience.
You will not take it from me!
Finally, at number 1, Mine Train Ulven, an Intamin family coaster mine train thing. I don't really know exactly what to call it. For a standard family coaster from the 90s, this is peak.
Someone cooked here.
In case you're unfamiliar with this ride, it's basically Wile E. Coyote the ride, because it's canyon themed and fast paced. The standout thing with this ride is the attempt to decapitate you. That not only goes for the tunnel right after the first drop, which please do not have your hands up.
Put your hands down for God's sake!
But also the foliage all around the ride, especially in the summer, because this ride absolutely is best to ride with leaves on the trees around you. And I am not kidding when I say there is absolutely a chance that a branch could hit you in your face. The clearance is non-existent on this thing. I love it. The layout itself is also just great. You got a really chaotic, super steep first drop, which absolutely yanks you down in the back row. There's no preparing for it back there.
I'm not ready.
And there are other couple fun airtime moments as well, especially in the front row. You got a lot of great laterals, a little bit of fun joltiness, and you got positives, and more positive forces. The real key to success here is just the sheer speed it takes its layout with. All from how tight the elements are to the proximity to everything around you, it just feels hella fast. And it manages to win over some of the larger thrill coasters in the country for me. That's all for my top 15 rides at the world's oldest amusement park, Bakken, which is easily also one of the most unique theme parks I've been to. So let me know what you think about this place and the rides here, whether or not you've been here or not. And please, if you go to Vienna, ride racing for me. I miss it so much. Otherwise, I'm gonna go to bed. Bye!